Are you on edge? We live in challenging, edgy times, so let's lean in. I'm Sandra Bargman, the host of the Edge of Everyday podcast, which drops bi-monthly on all your favorite podcast platforms. Tune in live with me and my friends and colleagues as we share stories and tough talk about pushing boundaries and exploring our rough edges. Real talk with real people that sparks provocative invitations to leap out of what's safe. Sandra Bargman, on the edge of every day. Thanks for listening. Hello, everyone. I'm Sandra Bargman, and welcome back to the Edge of Every Day. Today is Thanksgiving Day here in the United States. Happy Turkey Day, everyone. I am sitting here in my office, in my home in the Catskill Mountains. I'm going to be hosting Thanksgiving later today for a few folks. And then on Saturday, I am hosting a Friendsgiving for 12. Very exciting. I love having a good gathering. It is beautiful outside. Here in the Northeast, it is cool. It's in the 40s. All the leaves are down. It's getting that late fall, early winter gray. And there's just a tiny bit of ice on my little pond on my property. Believe it or not, earlier this morning, I even saw a turkey in my neighbor's yard. Just glorious. Thanksgiving is my all-time favorite holiday. Well, I shouldn't say all-time favorite. I do love Halloween too, but I think I love Thanksgiving mostly because it coincides with my wedding to my beloved husband, but also it has great memories, and I really love connecting to gratitude, the understanding of gratitude. Yes, my husband and I were married over the Thanksgiving weekend. We're celebrating our 32nd anniversary. And I would tell you, I'm going to read a little story about that I wrote a few years back. But I just want to stay on Thanksgiving and my love of the holiday. It's really an edge of everydayness kind of holiday for me, because on the one side, it is about my husband. It is about connecting to gratitude. It is about the love of that and the spiritual practice of that relationship and of gratitude. And it's also about the nostalgia and the longing that I have for holidays of my past, in particular Thanksgiving. I don't know that it was my mom's favorite holiday, but certainly it was up there. She created incredible gatherings and a feast. And then, every single year. Then later in life, after I was married and I had a home in the Catskill Mountains, my mother and father would come to our home and I would host them and my in-laws and sometimes other family members, friends, local friends, and people I didn't even know that didn't have a place to go for Thanksgiving. There was anywhere from 10 to 30 people over the course of those years. New York City friends would come up, local friends. It was just joyous. But the edge of everydayness quality about this is that it also is it's the opposite of, Thanksgiving is this myth that the Puritans, got together with the indigenous peoples, the first peoples, and broke bread with them. And of course, we all know that that's not true. They brought European diseases that killed many, and they slaughtered and massacred these people and stole their land. So it's full of complexities and paradoxes. And so just to be present to that always amidst my gratitude and my celebration of my gratitude and my love for my husband, to be committed to ever ongoing activism and awareness about our history, particularly as, so many lies are being told in our political landscape around the world today about our history. The reckoning that must happen as we face the challenging times in which we find ourselves. So there you have it. Let me just dive in and share this article that I wrote. I wrote 6 years ago. It's 2025 right now. And 6 years ago, I wrote this. So I'll begin. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. It's not because I'm misty over the idea that the early Puritans broke peaceful bread with the indigenous people. I don't believe that myth any more than I believe the myth of the Confederate flag being a symbol of Southern American heritage. No, I'm rather real about and fact-based on my American history, but I digress. While I appreciate and do plug into the powerful message of gratitude and of the celebration of family on this holiday, I love Thanksgiving because it's synonymous with my wedding day to my beloved, my ultimate gratitude. In 1993, I was a member of an acting company based out of Albany, New York, producing a Northeast touring company of A Christmas Carol, directed by the legendary Frank Hauser. 1993 was the first of a 4-year production run for the company, and in that first year, it starred Wilford Brimley as Scrooge, along with a group of New York City and Albany actors in the company. I know, hard to imagine the folksy Wilford Brimley on stage as a viable version of Charles Dickens' classic Scrooge. And the stories I tell about his illustrious "now get" bellowed at the end of the play as his character sends the young lad off to secure a goose on Christmas morning never ceases to bring a response mixed with humor and mortification. Much to our good fortune and that of our audiences, the exquisite John Astin of the original Addams Family fame took over the role in the following years, charming cast members and fans alike. Every one of us fell in love with John, but again, I digress. That first year, we had opened the show at the Palace Theater in downtown Albany before Thanksgiving, and the company was scheduled to have Thursday, Thanksgiving Day off through Saturday, and we were to return to the stage for a Sunday matinee. I decided it was the perfect weekend to get married. We wanted a very small wedding with immediate family and a handful of friends in attendance. Family came for a Thanksgiving dinner, more family and friends arrived on Friday, and Saturday was our wedding day, held at a Vanderbilt family estate turned bed and breakfast, then transformed into a chapel for us. Back then, there were no interfaith ministers or celebrants like me willing to create a wedding ceremony outside of religious dogma. So I ushered in what was to become a parallel career by writing a unique, heartfelt, and humorous ceremony for us, and I hired a justice of the peace to deliver it. I ritualistically chose wedding flowers for my bouquet based on their symbology. Red roses for love, ivy for friendship, lilies to remember the mothers. I didn't have a computer in 1993, so I made handwritten programs for the 30-some attendees, sharing the history of the wedding rings, the stories behind the choices we had made, the rituals we included, etc. After the ceremony, we popped the bubbly and noshed on elegant delicious hors d'oeuvres basked in the glow of us and soon made our way to the limo driven by my uncle to whisk us off to our country abode by the lake, where I promptly took down my hair and we kicked off our shoes, pushed furniture around, and danced the night away, whilst having a second feast on Thanksgiving leftovers and wedding cake. To this day, I am told that it was a favorite wedding ceremony and celebration. Each and every Thanksgiving weekend since, I reminisce on that weekend and all the exquisite elements that contributed to it being exceptional, at least for me, and to celebrate my deep gratitude. Happy anniversary, my love, and happy Thanksgiving to you all. The choice to write this remembrance and to share it with you all brings much gratitude. Thanks for listening. Aw, so nice to revisit that and share that with you, my glorious listeners. Yeah, it's a potent weekend, and I'm excited to share all of my gratitude and some laughs and some good food with family and friends. So, also, what I want to talk about today is, what is gratitude? What is gratitude? I was recently asked, yeah, I was a guest on a podcast. A friend of mine, Richard Skipper, has a wonderful podcast, Richard Skipper Celebrates, and I've been a guest a few times. And one of the things that he asked me was, do I have any rituals in my life? And the theme was art and abundance. And so his question was, do I have any rituals around art and my creative life? And of course, art and my creative life are synonymous with my spiritual life and my spiritual practice. So I just shared that every single morning, I mean, it's very simple. I I'm a bather, not a showerer. I light a candle while I'm in the bath. I light a candle and I say these simple words: thank you for this day and thank you for this life. Gratitude, quite simply, is my spiritual practice. It's, for me, it's an understanding that there is goodness all around us in the mundane world, in the material world, in the ordinary, as well as in the difficult and challenging situations, times. We're in dark times. And I think gratitude shifts me out of feeling that I have nothing, I have no hope for nothing. Gratitude shifts me into an understanding of hope and a willingness, even if I can't see it now, to look at a challenge, look at a difficult time or the dark times we're in, and hold fast to the idea that there is some sort of silver lining here, some alchemy of goodness in what appears to be so challenging and difficult or dark and unsolvable. So that is my understanding of gratitude. I also think of it as a frequency. It's an energy. We emit this energy. The more I focus on gratitude, the more I feel I emit this higher consciousness, this higher vibration. Um, you know, the idea of emotional frequency and this higher gratitude frequency came from the work of psychiatrist Dr. David R. Hawkins. He developed a chart of consciousness in his book, Power versus Force. It's a great book. Again, that's Power versus Force, and I'll have that in the show notes, not to worry. So while this model is probably not universally accepted in science, I think it's a really helpful framework. And so according to his chart, gratitude resonates at around 540 hertz, very close to the frequency of love. For comparison, research by biologist Bruce Tainio found that the average body vibrates at 62 to 78 hertz. Wow. If gratitude can elevate your vibration toward a 540 range, I'm thinking that's pretty significant. And there's other supporting research. Biophysicist Glenn Rain found that positive emotional states like gratitude can activate and repair DNA by creating heart coherence. Again, that's heart coherence, a measurable, harmonious state of the heart's rhythm. There you have it. Gratitude, love, truth are the highest vibrational frequencies we experience as human beings. It affects us physically, energetically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And even if you don't believe those numbers or you take that science with a grain of salt, the message is clear. Gratitude has a measurable, radiant impact. People feel it. You feel it. You feel this impact on your mind, your body, and on the energy you emit. Studies have shown that consistent gratitude can support heart coherence, it can reduce stress, it even strengthens the immune system. Gratitude just feels good, people. Gratitude just feels good. So there is how I think about gratitude. What are some of the ways that I or others can work on gratitude, can improve a gratitude practice, a daily practice? As I said before, every single morning, I light a candle. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this life. I thank the universe. I thank my parents. I thank my lineage, my ancestors for having the gift of life. And I donate regularly. This is a powerful thing. I donate regularly. I don't donate a lot because I'm not in that position to do so, but I donate quite frequently. I donate to food banks. I donate to candidates for democratic purposes. I volunteer. I I spend time with the elders. I take care of elders. I deliver food. I make food for people who are grieving. I put my money where and my energy and time where my mouth is. And that feels great. It reminds me, their gratitude reminds me of my gratitude and my ability to do that. Random acts of kindness, period. Like taking food to grieving people. We hear a lot of talk about, standing in line and buying coffee for the person behind and or helping someone with groceries or adding some money in if somebody doesn't have enough in the grocery store. And those are marvelous. Well, here's another one that you can do. In this crazy regime that we're living under and taking away of SNAP benefits, and why don't you handle a kid's school lunch? Lots of kids are needing, aren't going to be having healthy food or aren't going to be able to pay for their school lunch. So create a fund, contribute to one child being able to get their school lunch, or create a fund that can handle for people that can't, for young people, families that can't do that for their child. A gratitude journal is a favorite for a lot of people. Every single day, write down what you're grateful for. Doesn't need to be a long list or a lot of time, but just that connection to what you're grateful for. Your breath, your home, the love in your life, your kitties, your pets. Yeah. Express your appreciation. This is an enormous one. Express your appreciation every day. Share how you feel about what others do for you or how you value them. A thank you or a compliment or a heartfelt letter. I mean, who does that anymore in today's world? A handwritten, heartfelt letter of thanks or of appreciation to someone in your life. Um, Mindfulness practice. This is a big one. Just to take that moment in our very busy, very 30-second sound bite, go, 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 produce, produce, capitalistic, run, 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 produce, produce, produce society. Slow down, take a moment, you know, set a timer on your watch or on your next to your computer or whatever, and take a moment to take a deep breath and look around you and get present to the things around you that are of beauty and of appreciation. The trees, the sunset, again, your pets, um, anything. Your home, your computer, the fact that you have a computer. Appreciate what you have rather than focusing on what you lack. I think that's right, it there in a nutshell. Focus on what you have. I mean, this brings a tear to my eye. That's gratitude. Focus on what you have, the gift of what you have, rather than what you lack. And I think, you know, in these challenging times, focusing on, as I mentioned earlier, focusing on finding something of value in a dark time, a challenging, a loss, you're feeling your grief, be it a loss of a person, be it a loss of a job. I know it's easier said than done, and I understand that times are very difficult for people, and I'm not being insensitive that in the least. But I am suggesting that somewhere inside of you, finding some sort of sliver of willingness to be open to there being silver linings in challenging times and in difficult situations. And I will leave it at that. And this is the height of resistance. This is the height of resistance. Finding joy, finding appreciation, finding gratitude. This is the height of resistance in today's world, here in the United States and around the world. So there you have it. I think some questions that you can contemplate. What is something in your life that you're truly grateful for? How does it feel? How does it feel in your body to experience this frequency of gratitude? And doesn't it just feel good? How does it feel in your chest, in your heart? Can you feel it pulsing through your body? The joy of giving someone a compliment and the gratitude, just feeling that moving back and forth between the two of you. Who are you grateful for in your life? Who are you grateful for in your life? Bring that person to your mind's eye. Conjure your feelings of gratitude. Send that gratitude and love to them. Send it right out. Imagine it flowing right from your heart right out to them. How will you begin to anchor gratitude into your life each and every day? What practices will motivate you to continue to connect to this sense of gratitude each day? The more you practice, the more the patterns get wired into your nervous system. Yes. Yeah. You know, I feel lighter. I feel lighter. And Lord knows in today's world, I can feel heavy. But I feel lighter when I connect to my gratitude. I feel lighter in my body, in my mind, in my emotions. So over time, gratitude will not be something you have to do. It'll just be who you are. It'll just be. It'll just be. You will be gratitude embodied. Amen to that. So I wanted to share a poem. Hang on. I don't know. Hang on. I think I've got so pause. All right, here it is. I've got this great poem that I want to close out our Giving of Thanks episode, our Give More, Take Less episode of Thanksgiving. This land belongs to no one. It's by Hilla Ratzabi. This land belongs to no one but God. The earth was here before us and will endure after we are gone. Let us walk gently upon this precious earth, taking only what we need, leaving little waste, nurturing the soil, revitalizing the land to sustain future generations. This land we dwell upon today is the ancestral land of the Lenape people. That's for me here in the Catskill Mountains. We acknowledge their historical roots in this place, the many generations who were stewards of this land. We hear the echoes of their prayers to the great Mother Earth and seek to learn from their wisdom. We acknowledge the history of pain, disease, and bloodshed the native peoples endured when they were colonized. Though we can't reverse the course of history, we will not ignore it. Let us look history in the eye and accept its painful truth. Let us honor the memory of those who died on this land, who lost their sovereignty. Let us honor the native people who to this day keep their sacred traditions and culture alive and seek to reclaim, reassert, and revive their sovereignty. Our ancestors came to this country from countries often enduring hardship that laid the foundation for our freedom. We acknowledge their sacrifices so that we could enjoy better lives. We are grateful for the bounty we enjoy today, the abundant variety of foods this earth provides. We acknowledge those who cooked this meal and set this beautiful table. We acknowledge those who planted and harvested this food, many of whom are immigrants. We send them blessings for safety and freedom. We commit to sustaining this earth so it will continue to sustain us, our children and grandchildren. We commit to give more and take less from this fragile earth. And so it is. Ugh, I love that so much. And I will read that at my Thanksgiving dinner table, and I will read it again at my Friendsgiving table. And I want to thank you all for this special episode, for listening in on this special episode of gratitude, of giving more and taking less, of sharing my anniversary with my beloved hearing the story of my wedding ceremony. Thank you for being a part of today's episode. It's very meaningful for me, and I'm thrilled to have shared it with you. So, wishing you all happy Thanksgiving, happy Friendsgiving, happy day of gratitude, happy life of gratitude. Thanks for listening in, and remember, you are always at the edge of the miraculous. Until we speak again, take good care.
Pressing down on you, no man has fought.